a tattooed skydive instructor. His name is Ryan. He was 25 years old. He was the skydive instructor and tandem parachutist who instructed and jumped with my wife, Marianne, as she jumped out of a perfectly good airplane at 14,650 feet. Yes, you heard that correctly. Several years ago, my wife went skydiving. She chose this as her way of celebrating the 25th anniversary of her 29th birthday. Do the math. All I did was arrange and pay for the jump as a birthday present, and I was her hero. And no, I did not jump with her. But anyway, by the luck of the draw, so to speak, she wound up with Ryan as her instructor. I readily admit that when I first saw Ryan, I was taken aback a little. Okay, a lot. You see, Ryan had a stud sticking through the middle of his bottom lip, had his tongue pierced, had tattoos from his neck down to his feet, and had those big earring-type things in the ears that stretch out your lobes and make big holes in them. He had half-inch holes in both his earlobes. You could read a newspaper through those things. I remember thinking, oh, my Lord, this is her instructor. I'm placing my wife's life into his hands. She's going to die. I'm going to be a widower. My kids will never believe that I was dumb enough to let my wife and their mama jump out of an airplane harnessed to someone who looked like him. I could hear their questions. Dad, couldn't you look at him and tell he was a deadbeat, no account, illegal drug known to man? How in the world could you allow our mama to jump with him? And I must admit that at that point in time, I didn't have a good answer to the questions I supposed they would ask. As Ryan began to strap Marianne into her harness, he reviewed the instructions with her, the most memorable being that he told her that whatever she did, not to grab his hands, 'cause he needed them to pull the ripcord. Hey, made sense to me. As he finished giving her instructions, we had a little time, so we struck up a conversation with Ryan. It's incredible what people will tell you if you take the time to listen to their story. In about 10 minutes, we learned that Ryan's father was also a parachutist, and by age 8, he had Ryan packing parachutes for other skydivers. However, Ryan's home life wasn't very good, and basically, as a teenager, he was abandoned by his family. He told us, "You see all these other skydivers in the room? They are my family. They took me in and raised me. And you see that taller, older skydiver? He became more of a father figure to me than anybody." He continued, "And did you see that tall blonde working in the office? She's my wife. We have a 1-year-old son. I hope he doesn't want to be a skydiver. I know the risk. It's a dangerous sport. But if he wants to be a skydiver, I'll teach him. Skydiving is my life. My biological father told me I would never beat his record in jumping. He has over 1,000 jumps." He paused for a moment. Then, with a look of great pride and accomplishment, he announced to Marianne and me, "I now have over 7,000 successful jumps." Marianne looked at him and said, "Son, my children are older than you. I want you to treat me like I'm your mama and take care of me." He promised her he would. She later told me that even on the plane ride up to 14,650 feet, while every other instructor was relaxing, he checked, rechecked, and adjusted every strap on my harness until we jumped out of the plane. He doted over her. He looked after her. The truth of the matter is, she most likely had the safest, politest, nicest, most experienced instructor there. Go figure. There's some outstanding life lessons in my story today that we need to look at. First, I judged Ryan solely by the way he looked, rather than his character, life story, or the skills he possessed. Do you suppose that is the reason the Bible warns us against judging each other? You know what? In Ryan's eyes, I probably looked as weird to him as he did to me. But the truth of the matter is that despite our obvious differences, we had some things in common. First and foremost, we shared a common desire for Marianne's safety. Secondly, during the course of our lives, both of us have been shaped by the things that have been poured into us. Into him, while mine poured Jesus into me. And we both have a strong love for family. The Lord used this as a reminder and a teaching point for me not to judge those who are different before getting to know them. You know what? If everybody hearing this devotion today would stop judging those whose appearance is different, we might discover that we have some things in common. Secondly, take the time to get to know folks. Hear their story. It wouldn't take much of your time. I only invested 10 minutes in Ryan and discovered he was not at all like I thought, and that I liked him. I wonder how many potential friends I have passed up in my lifetime because I was unwilling to do this. I wonder how many people have passed me over because they were unwilling to do this. As with Ryan, sometimes we all present through a rough exterior that has been calloused by our life circumstances and the storms we have weathered along the way. It is only when we get past the facade that we meet the real person. I can only hope that those hearing this devotion today will be a little more careful to accept or reject each other only after we have listened to each other's stories, and not because we didn't like what we saw at first glance. Third, everybody is good at something. Even when they don't look like you think they should, everybody is good at something. Ryan is an excellent parachutist instructor. Would I ever in 1,000 years want to look like him? No. Would I ever aspire to be a skydiving instructor? No. Would he ever in 1,000 years want to look like me? No. Would he ever aspire to be a preacher? Probably not. But in retrospect, I'm sure glad Marianne had a tattooed skydiving instructor named Ryan. Not only did he teach her to skydive, but he taught me to be more aware of that not judging thing that Jesus taught. Lord, I have a sneaking suspicion today that I may not be the only dog named Rover running in this pack of being judgmental. I believe there are many here in this devotion who have been guilty of judging others without ever taking the time to talk with them and get to know them. God forgive us of that. God forgive us. And I ask this in your name. Amen.